I'm less than 30 days away from motherhood, and as a first time expecting mama, there's so many thoughts and emotions and questions that I have about how motherhood will be. And if you're a first time expecting mama, I'm sure that you can probably relate to some of the things that I'm going to share. And I wanted to talk about this with you and just document it because this is the last time that we will know what it feels like to not be a mother. Like once we give birth to our child and we have them, now we know what it feels like to be a mother. Now we are going through that experience. But right now, before having our first child, these are our thoughts and, just wonders and curiosity that will be answered once we become a mother. So this is the only time that we have not knowing and having these questions. And if you're new here, I'm Naomi. I'm 38 weeks pregnant with my first baby and preparing for an all-natural, unmedicated water birth, which I'm super looking forward to. So let's go ahead and get into this conversation. The first thing running through my mind, and I'm sure, again, all you first-time expecting mamas can relate to this, is what will labor and delivery feel like? What do contractions feel like? Does it hurt? I've heard people talk about how they felt contractions in the front, in the back. Like, how will that feel? And when will they start? Like, I'm 38 weeks pregnant now, and I haven't had contractions. I haven't had Braxton Hicks or anything like that yet. So I don't know what that feels like just yet. And I know that there are mamas who do have Braxton Hicks, like, early on in their pregnancy or even getting closer to it, but I don't know what that feels like yet. And even down to like wondering, like, when will my water break? Will it break? Because some women, their waters don't break until they're pushing. Some, it doesn't just gush out. Some just trickles a little bit. So those are a lot of questions that are on my mind about how will that labor and delivery process go. I know it's going to go beautiful because I've been implanting that in my mind and preparing for that. But just, all those details that obviously we won't know until we go through it. But it's something that has still been on my mind before it happens. The next thing is, how will my baby look? Every baby is like a mystery box. My husband likes to say that a lot. Like, oh, it's like a mystery box because you don't know how they're going to look. And we've done a 3D scan, but even on the 3D scan, I feel like some babies come out looking different from the 3D scan. And so that's been the next thing that's on my mind is, how will my baby look? I know she's going to be beautiful, but just like, whose features will she have? Will she have my nose or my husband's nose? Whose lips will she have? Will she have my dimple? How will her hair be? Just all those little things that we think about, like those details of them, whose features they'll have, is honestly like really such a sweet moment to cherish right now, because once they're here, then we'll finally know. But as a first time expecting mama, I don't know what they'll look like. And so once you have your first baby, you kind of have an idea of how you and your spouse's genes mix. But again, every baby is a little mystery box. And so I've just been wondering, how is she going to look? The next thing that's been on my mind before entering motherhood is, how will the transition be? And everybody's experience is different, which is why it's so important not to really lean too much into the advice of other people or lean into other people's experiences when they've entered parenthood, because so many people talk about like, oh, the sleepless nights, be prepared not to get any sleep, be prepared to be on the baby schedule, stuff like that. But then there's other people's experiences that I've heard of, like, oh yeah, they rested well, their baby was a good sleeper, their baby fit right into their schedule. And that's definitely something I believe in, is making the baby fit into your schedule, not trying to fit your baby's schedule, because the baby is now a part of your life. And so that's just something that I've thought about, like how that transition will be, and how the sleeping will be. Like, how often will she wake up throughout the night to feed? Obviously, I know there's a schedule for us to follow early on, but just thinking about how that'll be and how sleep will be and things like that. The next thing that's been on my mind, and I'm sure so many people can relate to this, is how will I know what to do? Because, people talk about like when their babies are crying and they are just trying to figure out like, do they need to change their diaper? Are they hungry? Do they have gas? Those kinds of things. And I truly believe that instincts will kick in, but it's still something that I think about during this time before entering motherhood is how will I know what to do? But again, I'm just trusting my instinct, knowing that when the time comes, and when she's here, that whatever presents itself, I will have those instincts to know what to do to take care of her. But that's a reality that I know so many of us face, just that question of how will I know what to do? The next thought that's been on my mind before entering motherhood is how will my body change? How will it be after I give birth? And those cycles of getting back to that normalcy with my body. And I know some people, they go completely back to normal. Some people take longer than others, but just thinking about like, oh, how long will it take for the baby weight to come off? Or how long will it take for, all my stomach to go back completely down? Things like that I've been wondering about. And of course, I know certain changes already have happened. Like my breasts have grown a lot. I'm sure you probably can relate to that. But some people say like their breast size did go back down after pregnancy. Some say that their areolas like lightened more or shrunk back down, because I know that that's something, one of the changes during pregnancy is that the breasts get bigger, areolas get darker, they get bigger. And so that's something that, some people say it went back to normal. Some people say it didn't. So just thinking about like how those changes will be. The next thing that's been on my mind is feeling that love for my child. And this comes from, how people say like the love that you feel for your child is like no other. When you hold them in your arms, you just fall in love with a love that you've never known before and you feel unstoppable. That's something that I've been wondering about, and I'm so looking forward to experiencing it for myself, but it's just something right now that I can't relate to because I haven't had a child of my own just yet. But again, I'm definitely looking forward to that feeling, and just I've been thinking about that so much before entering motherhood. Like, how does that love actually feel? The next question that's been on my mind before entering motherhood is, do I have everything I need? And I've been going back and forth between like, yes, we have everything, and are we missing anything? But that's just kind of something that you don't know until they're here. Truthfully, you see if you have too much or if you have too little, and what you do use and what you don't use. And especially being a first-time parent, there's a lot that you don't know until they're here. And then if you're a second time, third time, and so on parent, then you can remember what it was like and what you did use and what you didn't use. So it's a little different. But being a first time parent, I feel like a lot of us over prepare for our babies and overbuy. That's something that I really tried to stay away from. And so like for a registry and everything, I only added essentials. I was like, I'm not adding anything extra because we can just buy it if we need it, but at least we have all the essentials that we need. But yeah, that's definitely something I've been thinking about. Like, do I have everything? And out of the stuff that I do have, will I use it? Will I not use it? Is there anything that I thought I wouldn't use and didn't get that, I probably should have? And so I'm sure if you're a first time parent, you can relate to that. Another thing that's been on my mind is, will I be a good mom? And this is not in the sense of like thinking like, oh, will I be a good mom or a bad mom? Like, I know I'm going to be an amazing mother. I actually didn't grow up with my mom. And so I always told myself and knew that when I become a mother, I'm going to be the best mother and the mother that I never had. And so I know I'm going to be an amazing mother, but it's just those thoughts of like, not wanting to make mistakes, not wanting to lead them wrong, wanting to raise them right, with the right traits and morals and values and things like that, and wanting to teach them in the right way. There's a lot of stuff out there about like gentle parenting and, stuff like that, but just really wanting to do it the right way and not make mistakes. But at the end of the day, mistakes are inevitable, and that's just a part of life and something that we have to accept, especially as something going into being a first time parent is something that we have to accept. But even with people who already have children, I'm sure they learn that it's a part of the process, that, you know, it's trial and error, truthfully, and that we really are learning together. Whenever we become parents, we're learning how to be a parent, and our child is learning how to be a functioning person. And so we're learning together, and that's, you know, a mentality that really helps me with that thought of like, will I be a good parent? Will I do things right? And truthfully, just being accepting of, we're not going to get it all right, and we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to learn from it, but our children love us regardless, and we just have to do our best and work together as a team. So these are all the thoughts that I've been having, questions, thoughts, everything that I've been having before entering motherhood. And again, if you are a first time expecting mama, then I'm sure that you could probably relate to some of these. And if there's anything that I did not mention that you are also wondering for yourself, or thoughts that you're having before entering motherhood, let's chat. Leave them down in the comments below, and I wish you the best in your pregnancy journey.